notice, this letter to Inec from their lawyers. We see here it says that we, Robert Omukoro, SAN, Lukman Fagbemi, SAN, and Luka Musa Haruna, SAN, representing Honorable Nafiu Bala Gombe, asking Inec to, in fact, asking the chairman of Inec. They went on and listed several things, but part of what I read in the opening sequence there, they're demanding that Inec enforce the rulings of the Court of Appeal, and that means the name of Senator David Mark should not be in INEC website as the chairman of ADC.
Well, first and foremost, let me say that it is really very ridiculous for a man called Nafiu Gombe to say he's going to court to challenge the leadership of ADC. Nafiu Gombe, on the 17th May 2025, by a letter dated by him on that date, resigned from ADC. And he signed that letter on the 18th of May 2025. The letter took effect on the 26th of May 2025. And he said the reason that I am resigning is to make way for a smooth and effective coalition and restructuring, in his own handwriting. Now, after having resigned, and the APC started doing their ojoro, they went back to him and they are using him, thinking he can truncate ADC.
How do you say for sure?
Because APC is desperate.
Is there any proof?
His resignation is in his handwriting.
Yeah, but is there any proof that it's ADC that's responsible for that?
Don't mistake ADC with that demonic party. You just said ADC.
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
No. Did you have any proof that is APC that is asking him to do what he's doing?
Well,
he's a grown man.
We are politicians. What is his motive? Not to be anything in ADC. He has resigned. But to truncate ADC. Now, as I was saying, this Nafiu Gombe, I had been here on this studio when they were lying that the trial court gave them any order. I was with Maukwe, and I read to them where the trial court rejected even their ex parte motion and told them they should put us on notice. And INEC recognized us. And when INEC recognizes you, can no longer use the instrumentality of an interlocutory injunction to stop an action that is executed. Now, we went to Court of Appeal to say that these people are simply meddlesome interlopers. They are charlatans. The Court of Appeal reminded us that this is not even the judgment of the court. This is an interlocutory order, which the judge has not even ruled. They simply say, give notice. So what is it to appeal?
Okay.
And then the judge said, you will need to seek the leave of the Court of Appeal. That's the procedure. Before you appeal against an interlocutory order. And status quo is very simple.
Okay, so
can you imagine Nafiu telling the court, telling INEC that the court told them that you should maintain status quo, and they are interpreting the status quo that they should be granted the relief they are seeking in court.
Okay, so let me just read that.
You went to court to say the register, and you're saying the status quo.
Maybe so what you're saying is that
this is just very silly. Sorry.
So they're saying that the parties were hereby directed to maintain status quo ante bellum and shall refrain from taking any step or doing any act capable of fostering a fait accompli on the court or otherwise rendering nugatory the proceedings before the trial court. And they, in that letter they wrote to INEC,
yes, that statement
they went on to explain.
Yes.
To begin with, the literal meaning of status quo ante bellum is the state of affairs before the beginning of hostilities. So, the status quo that ought to be maintained, according to them, in this case, is the state of affairs that existed before the defendants forcibly take over of the management and control of the family properties which constitute the wrongful acts complained of in the application. And then they refer, say, C. Thompson versus Park, 1944, and he went on and on.
Right. Let me just mention the first statement that you read.
Yeah.
You said you should not do anything that will disadvantage either party.
maintaining status quo, antebellum.
That is what I'm saying. Now, INEC has already recognized us. We are in INEC's portal as the leaders.
So they're saying that?
No.
That is a wrong move.
What they are saying, what the court said, actually confirmed our leadership. And is saying, don't tamper with this leadership. Because you'll be foisting a fait accompli on the court. Because that is what the court is to decide. So you see how people just sit down and interpret nonsense.
Wait a minute, just explain this. If you say the recognition by INEC of David Mark led team is what the INEC is to decide.
No, not INEC. Court.
Sorry, the court. If, because they're arguing that action alone is already foisting a fait accompli on the parties. So according to them, they say status quo ante bellum means the condition of things before that recognition.
That is what I'm saying. Status quo ante bellum is that there is a national leadership in place of ADC. And let me even remind you, it was Professor Yakubu Mahmoud that recognized the ADC leadership, not even Joyce Amofuta. Can you imagine if Professor Yakubu Mahmoud, that we know his technical glitch history, we look at the process that we took and saw no technical glitch and recognized us, then you can imagine that we went the extra mile. Because if he had seen any glitch, no matter how small, he wouldn't have ever tried it. We had 18 months of negotiations before we came up with this. I was part of it. As a lawyer, I asked critical questions, including this. And that was when I was shown everything. That these people resigned, their NWC dissolved itself because of the greater good of Nigeria. And some charlatans are meeting, some clowns are meeting, being used by APC to truncate ADC. Because Tinubu does not want any competition in 2027. That's what is going on.
Alright, the APC seems not to amuse me with a failed strategy they are coming up this time around. They have tried to manipulate the INEC by trying to, say that they won't recognize the office of the David Mark. But you see, Kenneth Okonkwo is someone that I love so much in his response. You see, this Kenneth Okonkwo is very, very brilliant to be a lawyer. I swear to God. He's one of the machineries that the ADC have that is very tangible, like Dino Milayi. You see, these two of them are very sound lawyers for you to know, and they are well outspoken in anywhere that you want them to represent. That's why P2B made him his spokesman in 2023 general election. Now, there are some other issues that people are not even talking about and people are not seeing about the new law of or just the let me just say of what the APC are doing with the electoral reform process they are coming up with, by saying that if you didn't go and revalidate your voters card, you will not be able to vote. So what does that mean? Is it going to affect them in one way or the other? Because the same law they are still going to make that want to affect the other party is still going to also affect their own party too. Well, you see, Nigeria is a country in West Africa, and they can never define what they want in the Nigerian politics. As long as Nigerian politics is concerned, count Nigeria zero, because all they are made up is fraud. Well, share your own opinion in the comment section and do me a favor by clicking on your subscribe button just to encourage and support us. Thank you and God bless.